Hi guys, and welcome to your second mini lesson on sentence variety. Now remember, in order to make your writing interesting, you need to have a variety of sentence starters. So what that means is that all of your sentences should start a little bit differently. Nobody wants to read a story or a paragraph or anything that starts with the same thing over and over again. It's very boring. So in your first lesson, we talked about adding ing verbs to the beginning of your sentences to change things up. And in this lesson, we're going to be talking about changing the subject. So instead of always beginning a sentence with the subject, so who the sentence is about, start with the object and some interesting adjectives and adverbs. So for example, we have he had straggly hair. He had is a very repetitive sentence starter. Instead, start by describing this person's hair by adding more adjectives and a verb to describe how the hair is moving. So for example, we have long, dark, straggly hair framed the stranger's face. So we added in the words long and dark to describe his hair, and we also added in framed the stranger's face. So framed is like a picture frame, how a picture frame frames a picture. His hair is framing his face. And we also added in the descriptor stranger instead of just he. That just adds more detail. Let's look at another example. So we have she had long black hair. Again, she had is just like the previous example of he had, very repetitive. In order to change that up, we're going to start by describing the hair, okay? And then adding a verb to describe the hair even more. So we have long, shiny black hair cascaded over her shoulders. So we are adding in that her hair is shiny, and then we're also adding in that it cascaded over her shoulders. So that describes the length of the hair even more. Cascading would be like this, falling over her shoulders like that. So that even paints a better picture in the reader's mind. Another example, there was a chair in the corner of the room. There was is a very repetitive sentence beginning, and a way to change this up is to jump right into describing what the chair looks like and where it is in the room. So, adding in a fluffy, soft chair sat nestled in the corner of the room. So adding in the word fluffy and soft to describe how the chair looks, and also adding in the word nestled. That means that the chair is almost like it's tucked away, just tidy and neat and cozy in the corner. Another example here. There were tall trees in the back of the yard. Again, there were is a very repetitive sentence beginning. So instead of saying there were tall trees, jump right in to describe what the trees looked like in the back of the yard. So instead, you could put tall trees stood across the back of the yard like soldiers. So jumping right in and saying tall trees instead of saying there were, and describing the trees using a simile, so using the word like or as, and in this case, using the word like to compare the trees to soldiers. So remember, changing the subject is adding sentence variety by not always starting with the same thing as the subject, okay? So changing the beginning of sentences. So instead of saying there were, there was, she had, jump right into describing the object in the sentence. Now remember, all of your sentences should now not start by changing the subject. That totally defeats the purpose of this lesson. So now you've learned changing the subject and you've learned adding ing verbs. So that's two new ways that you can start your sentences. So please go back into Google Classroom and I want you to complete the Google form titled Changing the Subject. Good luck.